Hey everybody, it's the Grumpy Meeple coming at you again with some more Zombicide second edition related content. I'm like a bad penny, I just keep turning up, guys. So today we're gonna start my kind of unboxing series for Zombicide second edition because I just got my pledge yesterday. I was able to find a pledge from a store in Myrtle Beach, actually called Myrtle Beach Games and Comics, and they were really great. They worked with me to kind of get it shipped out here and make some changes to the order, and just the fact that they had so much of this stuff and available, and most of it was very reasonably priced. It was basically Kickstarter pricing, not really marked up. So check them out if you get a chance. I'll put a link to their website below. But I've been having a lot of luck lately with these kind of regional stores in regions that I don't, live in. And in hunting down some of these games that I missed back when I was trying not to back everything. But anyways, we're going to start off with the Travel Zombicide set. Now, the reason we're starting with Travel Zombicide is because I bought a couple of different copies, and one of them is for a friend of mine, and he is graciously allowing me to open it on the channel to kind of check it out and do a quick review of it. And he needs the copy by tomorrow because he's going to be traveling. So let's get into it. Spoiler alert, I did already open this actually. I filmed another video and it was not going well. I tried doing this at like 5 in the morning and I was having camera problems and all sorts of issues. So this is my second crack at this. So some of this stuff has already been taken out of the shrink, etc. But I'm going to basically start from scratch with my thoughts on it. So right off the bat, so this is, in case you didn't know, this is the portable micro version of Zombicide that was available during the Kickstarter. I don't know if it's going to be available in retail. It wasn't marked as Kickstarter exclusive, but it may be that, depending on the amount of kind of interest that they got in it on Kickstarter, that may influence whether or not it goes to retail. I don't know. But the idea behind this basically is that it's a mini version of the full second edition core set. There are really only a few things that are not represented here. So instead of 12 survivors, 6 adults and 6 children, you just get the 6 adults in this version. And instead of the 4 abominations that come in the core box, you just get 1. But other than that, pretty much everything is represented. And as you're going to see, it's all kind of micro-sized. So let's bust this bad boy open and see what we got. Okay. So right off the bat, here it is. You get Zombicide in a basically indestructible hard clamshell style, case, plastic case. It's got the kind of Zombicide logo on it. It's got the dice built in so that you don't have to carry dice around or lose dice if you're trying to play this. I don't know, like on the deck of a clipper ship or something. I don't know where you'd be playing this, where you'd be that worried about losing dice. Maybe in your car or something if your kids are playing it. I don't really imagine a use case for this for me for play during actual travel, like during transit. I imagine it more like I'm going to visit a friend and I want to take some games with me and I don't want to lug a 30-pound copy of Zombicide. This would be a good alternative, basically. This is also the kind of thing that would be really good to just have. I think there's a use case for this if you're a parent, because It gives you a micro-sized version of the game that doesn't require a dedicated space to play it in, and it's easy to kind of move around and stuff. You know, parents have to be very flexible. Even when you're kind of at home, your kids are just kind of rampaging through the house, and you're constantly, you know, trying to find 5 minutes to do something you actually want to do. So I think that there's a couple of kind of interesting use cases for this beyond just like, I want to get on an airplane and play Zombicide. So here we have the components. And so right off the bat, you've got basically the full rule book. It's just kind of micro-sized. This is actually the mission book, I'm sorry. And so right off the bat, one great thing, it has all 25 missions from the core game in it. So there's a ton of content here. So you've got the mission book and you've got your micro-sized rule book as well. Goes through all the same rules. Basically, there's really no change to the rule set as a result of the kind of smaller form factor. Next, you've got some character dashboard clips. These are meant to hold your items in for your characters. We'll take a look at that once we get the character cards out. But you can see one nice little detail that I didn't see anybody else mention. I don't know if they mentioned it on the Kickstarter or not, but if you can see that, these slots are labeled with the number of components that should be in them. And so this is really nice for a travel version where you might, you know, here's the tiles and you can see they're quite small. It's not inconceivable that you might drop one of these. And so they just give you a nice, subtle, easy reminder of, hey, you need 9 tiles, you need 6 character dashboard clips. And so I like that quite a bit. And then you've got cards with a nice little divot here to be able to pull them out easily. This is your spawn deck. I haven't opened this one up yet because, you know, it's a spawn deck. It's pretty much what you would expect. And then I did open this up, and this is kind of the rest of your cards. So your item cards, your equipment cards, pimp weapon cards, starting cards, etc. You can see you've even got the police car on there, and it's got the full, you know, text police car and pimp mobile, but just micro-sized, you know. So if I grab one of the cards from Chronicles of Drunagor, which are a similar size, you'll see, you know, like, where'd the Zombicide cards go? Oh, there they are. You know, so very nice. They feel basically exactly the same as the other cards in terms of like thickness and general quality of the card stock and whatnot. So nothing really changed there. Next up, you've got your zombie miniatures. So these were bagged differently. They were separated out, I believe, and I just kind of threw them all into one bag, or a couple of bags, kind of haphazardly. And so let's get these out on the table and we'll take a look at them. Like I said, I spent like 45 minutes trying to shoot this earlier and it's really getting frustrated. And so when I put it away, I didn't perfectly replicate the way that it came. But it should still be good enough. All right, so let's see, what do we got here? All right, so right off the bat, we have got a walker. Hopefully you can see that, and let me do my extreme zoom. Here we go. So there's your walker. For size comparison, basically for all the miniatures, this monster giant is from Shadows of Brimstone, which is pretty standard size, and so you can see they are very, very small and very cool. I think there's just the one sculpt for each zombie type. So that's your walker. You've got your fatty. Flip them over. Let's see if we can find a runner. I believe that this is a runner. Got your runner. And then somewhere in here, you've got your abomination. There he is. And then you've got your teeny little A-bomb. Pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with, considering the size of them, I'm pretty happy with this, the miniatures. Okay, next up, we've got a bunch of other kind of components we're going to take a look at. So first of all, rounding out the miniatures, we've got our 6 heroes. Do them one by one. Here is, I don't know their names from the top of my head, but there's Sword Girl, this is Shotgun Man. This is Johnny Dual Wields. Here we've got, I don't know what is going on here. Oh, this is, yeah, I think that's the guy with the sign on him in the promotional materials. Or in the box art. Chainsaw Girl. And there should be one more that I may have missed. There we go. And Lawman, I think. So, there's your Survivor miniatures. Next up, we've got the vehicles. So this set is interesting, and maybe I'll zoom back out. This set is interesting because it's weird because in ways it contains things that even the core set for Zombicide didn't, like plastic cars. Now, granted, they are very kind of simplistic. They're just on a 2D, kind of plane. But this is just a cardboard chit in the core game. And in this game, you get this nice little plastic car. And it's reversible. So you have the police car on one side and the pimp wagon on the other side. You also get plastic doors. Here you go. And so the way that these work is really clever because there it's closed and there it's open. So plastic doors, get the different colored doors and everything too, just like you would need. And so I think, they decided to make the components cardboard or stay away from the cardboard for reasons of, like durability, basically. The plastic is a lot more kind of travel friendly. And we've got these two kind of people meeples, and I'm honestly not sure what those are supposed to represent. I think they're not actually people. I think that these are crates. So these are objectives and these are pimp weapon crates. Plastic again. Gather them all up here. So we do a nice, clean, detailed unboxing here. Here you've got your plastic spawn points. Your exit tile. And your first player marker. Okay. Continuing on. Got more cars, 3 cars in total, I believe. Then you've got what you got here is the plastic noise tokens. Very cool. So it's just it's interesting to me because it's common for CMON to sell these plastic upgrades during their Kickstarters, and it's common for me to buy them because I like having the premium components. But they didn't go that route in second edition, and I don't know if it's because there really aren't that many tokens in second edition. That game is surprisingly kind of lightweight in terms of the number of chits that it has. And so they may just have figured, well, it's kind of not worth it to manufacture this stuff because there's so few tokens. And then what we have next is a bag full of clips for your character board, and I'll show you how those work here in a second. And then finally, you have your character board, your little mini character boards. So this is another surprise. I don't know why I thought this, but when I looked at the pictures during the Kickstarter, I just assumed that they were the same player boards as from first edition, like literally the same size. And you can see they're much, much smaller, which I think is good. They still have kind of that info on the back, tells you about special abilities, and then, you know, the way this thing works is, and I may be getting the colors wrong here, bear with me, but I feel like this is a pretty strong guess. So you snap those 3 kind of sliders on, and that's how you track where you're at in terms of your adrenaline, your abilities, and your health. And then you augment that with one of these clips, which I believe, I didn't see any documentation in the rule book about exactly how these are supposed to be used, but I'm pretty sure that it is something like this, basically. That's a really bad example because that would just go into your backpack, but let's just do the baseball bat. Yeah. So, you know, you have a little self-contained thing here. Not as cool as the plastic dashboards, but a hell of a lot better than having just like loose cards floating around, especially if you are trying to play this, I don't know, on a cruise or something, or outside. So no complaints with that, really. And then I believe you've got the tiles, 9 double-sided tiles. What I assume is the exact same art, basically. They're nice and thick, component-wise. They feel fine. If anything, they might even be better than, in some ways, they might be better than the core box ones, because those very large square tiles, they tend to, they're prone to warping. I find, at least. And then you've got some plastic clips for your tiles to hold them in. And again, you can see on the inside here, they're just kind of reminding you, like, hey, here's the things that you should have for this game, and you should have 6 characters, and your cards go here. Again, just nice little touches, like it's easy to pull the cards out. And also, just this thing is super durable. So really no complaints on the construction quality side of things. You got your dice rollers built in. They seem to work fine. I have like the hands of a blacksmith. Giant sausage fingers, so it's a little, somebody more dexterous could probably spin those even better. Dexterous, there's your SAT word for today, guys. I have a degree in English literature, so I tend to talk. I don't know, I talk like an asshole, basically. So anyways, you set out your tiles, and then what you do is you secure them with these little clips. And the way that they work is they have a lip on they have a lip on the back side there. And so you just simply basically put them in. Just gonna get them started. I found it's easier if you start them all before you try to kind of lock them down. And little, it is possible to over tighten them so that they are kind of popping, but you get the picture. There we go. And there you go. So there's your board setup. So next up, you've got some nice touches on the kind of play side. You've got these runners for cards and such. So, you know, you can have your decks. I assume that you could even, you know, separate them out a little bit more than maybe I have there. I assume you could also use these compartments if you chose to. If you wanted to just kind of keep the decks together, you could just throw all these components in there too while you're playing, you know, and then have a truly portable, you know, throw that on there. Bye. This is perfect for, like, if you have little kids. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and there is nothing that gives her more pleasure than to grab something that I don't want her to grab. And so this is really nice because when I see her coming, I can just go, whoop, you know. I see her charging down on me to get her hands on my precious loots. But you can see it's very stable. And then, just like Zombicide, you know, just like any other version of Zombicide, kind of set up your exit, set your spawn points. I usually put mine off the board if possible, just because I find that you need all the room you can get. You've got your doors. This isn't, you know, like a regulation setup, but you guys get the idea. Maybe you've got a Pimpmobile there, and you got your survivors. Maybe this guy's down here. He's taking a couple shots, so you need your noise tokens. And then, of course, you have your ever-present zombie threat. And so forth and so on. And so that's, you know, the basic idea. Just a very small, very easy to move. You can see I can pick it up. It's not gonna split on me necessarily. It won't hold together perfectly if you don't kind of pick up both sides, but it's good enough to get it around. And so, you know, again, like, okay, great, Grumpy Meeple, that's very interesting, but what's the use case for that for kind of a normal person who isn't going on a Disney cruise with his family or whatever? So I can imagine a couple things. You know, obviously, if you are going to travel, I travel to see a friend of mine and play games every year or two, and it is really nice to be able to take what is basically a fully functional version of Zombicide and just throw it in a regular bag. Usually, if I want to do something like that, then I'm like, you know, pulling components out of storage and boxes and stuff and bagging them and trying to get them into my suitcase. And this is much kind of easier. It's also the kind of thing you could just grab if you're going to, you know, a cabin for a weekend or something like that, and you think you might have an hour or two. I could also see just setting this up like if you're like me, I have a dedicated gaming space in the basement, but I don't spend all my time down here because I have a family. And there are times when I would like to be able to play upstairs while I'm watching the kids, or, you know, while they're napping, so that I can hear them if they wake up, etc. And so I don't necessarily want to be downstairs, but I also don't have a game topper upstairs, like a big space to put a game on. So this is perfect for that. You could just put this in the corner of your desk, essentially. I have a large kind of work desk, and, you know, just kind of boop, 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 you know, on your lunch break or whatever. And then obviously, if you are traveling to like a game night or the office or something like that, this is like perfect for like office gaming. I used to play some games with some friends of mine at work on lunch back when I went into a physical location for work, which is probably never going to really happen again consistently. But if I were going into a physical location for work, this would be perfect because you could just throw it in your bag or even just carry it in hand, or you could just even just like, this will just fit on your desk. You just fold it up and just kind of throw it to the side, put it in a drawer, and then pull it out at lunchtime. And it's just not this huge production to kind of get it moving around. And it's Zombicide. I mean, you can see it's got all the same stuff in it, basically. It doesn't capture any of the content from the expansions, and I'm not sure if I like that or not. I kind of do, because it would just be more stuff, and I could see it getting out of hand. The only thing I do love the all-out system in Zombicide 2.0 in Washington, D.C. and Fort Hendricks, and I kind of don't want to play the game without that system anymore, which you wouldn't be able to do in the mini version, obviously. But still, for what it is, for the price, you know, it's $50. It's, depending on how you look at it, it's expensive. It is a full-featured game. You could just buy this and play Zombicide 2nd Edition, all 25 missions. And so for somebody, like, shout out to somebody I've been talking to in my comment section, who's got his own YouTube channel, the Tabletop Wolf. I'll try to remember to put a link to his channel below. He was telling me that he doesn't have a lot of space to game on, and so something like Chronicles of Drunagor isn't really for him. It's not in the cards because of the space issue. Well, here you go. If you don't have a lot of space, bro, this thing will set you up. You know, I mean, what is this? It's like 2x2. You know, it's pretty small. So that is my unboxing and kind of a review of Zombicide 2nd Edition, the travel version. Now, I will be reviewing Zombicide 2.0 in much more detail and all the expansions and everything. But just as a kind of spoiler, I like it a lot. I think it adds a lot to the franchise, especially the expansion content. And so I think that this product is pretty cool. And in terms of my kind of rating system, as you guys know, I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into this, the launch of this channel and whatnot. And I am the Grumpy Meeple, so basically my rating system is 2 points. It's either makes me grumpy or makes me happy, and this particular product definitely makes me happy. I think it's cool. I could see why people would think it was ridiculous and an extravagance that nobody needs, and you would not be wrong. See, just like little stuff like that. Like this last card in here would be such a pain in the ass to get out if it were, you know, and they're just like, yeah, okay, we'll just put a little ramp there. Nice little touches like that. So I think that this is a pretty cool, unique product. It's also unclear if it's getting that retail release or not, and if it doesn't, then it'll likely be a collector's item, and just like a cool oddity to have on your shelf, you know. But an oddity that has a kind of functional use and may have a place in your kind of gaming collection. So that's it for Zombicide 2nd Edition Travel. I am the Grumpy Meeple. Thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you later.